freshman group, especially under the Sear twins, and seeing what the incoming freshmen that are going to be participating in spring like what is something that you would tell those freshmen just so they can get in the competition and work their way up being in that rotation?
Yeah, I think you look at last year, we had 19 freshmen that played 4 more games, and some guys that started with freshman All-American. Usmani played a lot. Boggs, even though he dealt with some injuries, played a lot. You saw guys that were able to come in and to be able to make an impact early. And the thing I challenge them with is you've got to be willing. So it's not just the physical. And to be honest with you, probably the physical is the least of the things that put guys in position to be able to play. It is the mental. It's the mental makeup, the mental maturity, the understanding of what you're being asked to do, and then applying the techniques of how to do it. That's where I think so many freshmen are, where it's challenging for them to play early. But also I think when you look at early enrollees, when you see guys that are able to come in and have a spring practice, it does help with that transition. But like Usmani, he came in in June last year. He put himself in a position to have a chance to play, and he was productive. Was he a finished product last year? Absolutely not. And there was some good and there's some bad, but he's opened the door to be able to go from a freshman who was able to play to really I think have an exceptional future. But it's the same for all these guys coming in. We've got some really talented guys in this freshman group, and I mean it doesn't take long to sit there and watch them in a workout, to see to hear them talk in a meeting, to see them transition that to a walkthrough. I'm like, all right, this kid, he's got a real shot. But I mean, we had multiple guys that came in the summer that were able to do that. But I feel with a kind of expansive early enrollee class, I mean, I've got some big expectations for guys that, to come in and be able to make an impact.
All right, last one will be Chris.
According to the spring schedule, it doesn't look like there's a spring game. Why the decision not to have one?
Well, I mean, I think, when you look at spring games, I mean, and I'd say probably across the country, that's probably a more common theme than what of not having a spring game than what it was ever before. But there's a lot of different dynamics with that, and we get 15 practices. I want to be able to maximize every one of those practices, building to what's going to show up game one here for this fall. And I think that with a lot of the just the scope of what spring games were, where showcases were. You would have a practice where you wouldn't show much, you wouldn't do much, you would, you get to certain points where you're probably holding back on one of those days that because you don't want to show too much for your first opponent or who you're going to play. There were some elements that probably just were only unnecessary. I understand fans want to be here. It is an experience. But when you look at the process of this team growing, of being all that we can be, I mean, we're going to capitalize on getting three full scrimmages, and where there's going to be what we want to do and what we want to be. We're going to see what that looks like, and you are limited with the amount of things that you can do. Just the number of padded practices, the number of scrimmage days. So being able to capitalize on all those with no self-imposed restrictions are things that I think will be good. And like I said, I'm excited for this team that's ahead, and we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that when we get here this fall, that this team is trained and ready to go be everything I know that they can be. And so we're going to utilize every one of those days this spring to make that happen.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.